We're going to try one of those YouTube introductions. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the pod. My name is Doc the Oracle. I will be your host for this discussion with myself. You can hear that I do not have a noise-canceling microphone. There are trains. There are bugs. I am so sorry. I just do not have the financial wherewithal at the moment to afford microphones, but I will be getting them. They are on my list. I just need to make some money first, and then we'll have a much better time hearing me without bugs and rain and trains. Oh my. So I think this episode I want to talk about, I literally until this moment have not decided between two things: deities and guides and other entities, beings, a frequential variation, or tarot and divination. So let me think for a second. I already have my tarot cards out, so I think a lot of people are interested in tarot. I think a lot more people are getting interested in tarot. I actually didn't get interested in tarot until 2022, during my first awakening. My initial awakening, I felt called to divination, and there are multiple kinds of divination. Some people have crystal balls, some people have dowsing rods. I actually have a pair of dowsing rods. They're like copper rod things that you hold, that you've seen people hold, and like you ask a question and it goes like whoop, whoop, whether it's like yes or no. Everyone's different with it. There's runes. Some people use runes, dice, oracle cards. I actually have my own oracle deck that I made. So there's all kinds of ways to divine. And personally, I think I take a different approach than many other people. I think a lot of people look at tarot as, what's in my future? Am I gonna die? Is something bad gonna happen to me? Is my family member trying to talk to me? Like stuff like that. And for me, tarot is more of I take a psychoanalytical approach almost, where I look at the energy of your current situation and see where that's pointing you, and whether you choose to change your mindset or use your free will to choose another energy or direction, work on yourself, then you can change your future. So it kind of just gives you a timestamp of where you are at the current moment energetically and what is kind of on the way if you continue down the same road. Because the future is never set in stone. Prophecies change, timelines change, everything changes depending on you and what you believe and what you have internalized about the world and your life and everything. I don't know. So I know that some people may be listening to this on Spotify or just not watching the video, but I am going to show some of my cards because I think it would be pertinent, I think, if you're learning about tarot and stuff and divination, to kind of see what it's about, because I know people know that there's numbers, they know that there's pages and kings and queens and aces and then the major arcana, but maybe I'll just pull a few cards and show you what they are. So this deck is the actual, I'm so excited about it. It's the World of Warcraft official tarot deck. I'm a big World of Warcraft fan. I've been playing on and off since I was 16 years old. I am 35 now, which is crazy, since 2006. So I'm excited about the artwork and about just like WoW's interpretation of tarot. So the first one is so funny. That's the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is all about choices. It's about having multiple opportunities and having to make a choice about them. That's like the Two Swords. So it's like picking what path you're gonna take. Let's throw another one in there. The Knight of Swords. So the Knights are the fastest moving cards in the deck besides the Eight of Wands. Knights usually mean, look at this. Is this a Night Elf? Yes, it's a Night Elf on a saber, just like rushing into battle. I think the Knight of Swords talks about ideas. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the Knight of Wands. My bad. This is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands, I believe, is about... Fuck, I don't remember. I'm a reader, but I still... Sometimes with the knights and pages, I get a little bit of confusion. But I have my grimoire here full of information. Energy, passion, inspired action, adventure, and impulsiveness. That makes sense for the artwork. That makes sense. So with tarot cards, each suit kind of has a different... Well, the suits do have different things. So I guess this will just be a crash course if you're curious, is what it's turning into. So the suit of cups is emotion. It's all about emotions, about feelings, about things that are happening to you and the things that you feel. I was trying to think of a different way to describe it, but it's really just emotion. That's the cup suit. And the pentacles is about the physical. It can be about money, health, business, just things that exist in the material realm. Manifestations, the pentacles all talk about that. Solid things. The swords is mental. The swords are our mental, so they're about our brain space, about our ideas often, or crossroads, or limiting storylines, beliefs, things like that. And wands are about spirit. They're very spiritual. So the wands are usually about spiritual expansion, or things that are holding us back, or also ideas sometimes. So there's a little crossover, but it's not thirst for knowledge and curiosity. I guess that'd be more swords, but it's all very malleable, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert, but I do know more than the basics. I would say I'm pretty adept at it. I'm just not. There's some people that know a fuck ton about it. I know some people pronounce it tarot, and I think that might be the original pronunciation, but I feel a little snooty doing that, because it's tarot. Like everyone, like people know what tarot cards are. I'm not going to say tarot, but no hate to anyone that does, because they're being, I guess, technically correct about it, but I feel weird about it. And here's one more, the star. And the star is about spirituality and faith and following the spiritual path, expansion, things like that. So I'll put that deck away. But so basically, each suit represents those different things, and each number also represents different things. The aces are all about beginnings. They're all about the start of something, new ideas, inspiration, opportunity, all shit like that. The twos, let's see, the twos here have a lot of things about options, about choices. Yeah, let's see, pentacles, multiple priorities, wands, decisions, discovery, swords, also decisions, weighing options, yep, cups, unified love, partnership, and mutual attraction. So, two things, having two things to fucking do, or two things coming together. I'm not going to go into every single number, but I will say some of them are pretty consistent. Like the nines are usually about the almost culmination of things, like the Nine of Pentacles, abundance, luxury, self-sufficiency, financial independence. The Nine of Swords, and anxiety, worry, fear, depression. The swords can be rough, because the 9 is about anxiety, worry, fear, and depression. 8 is about negative thoughts, self-restriction, and imprisonment. 7 is about betrayal, deception. I'm not sure I like getting fucking the swords that often. 5 is about conflict and disagreements. 3 is about heartbreak, emotional pain, and grief. So the swords are probably my least favorite suit to draw for myself, because it seems like there's a lot of negativity there. But the 10s are often the culmination of everything. So 10 of Cups is kind of like the ultimate happy family, you finding your forever person and starting a family with them and having everything. The 10 of Pentacles, wealth, financial security, long-term success, it's about getting your abundance. The Swords, of course, painful endings, deep wounds, betrayal, loss, and crisis. So we don't really want that culmination from the Swords. And the Wands, burden, extra responsibility, hard work, and completion. Oh, that's about carrying too much of a burden, but also the culmination of that, of getting to the point where you crossed over the hill and you've carried the thing and you can finally drop it. So, yeah. Do I want to go over all the... No, I'm going to talk about... Okay, that's enough of that. I'm going to talk about kind of how I understand tarot, and not just tarot. I'm going to go into oracle cards as well. I'll probably show my oracle deck. I could show my dowsing rods if someone's never seen dowsing rods. But on the point of tarot and oracle cards and spirit cards, any card or any divination technique really, is to glean information about the self. Or someone else, I guess, if you're giving them a reading. But it's about to glean information and kind of confirmation of what you already know subconsciously, but you haven't brought it to your conscious awareness. That's at least what I usually try to get with tarot, is to bring the unconscious to the conscious, so the person can become aware of it and then choose whether they want to change it or enhance it, So it's really about getting to know yourself better, or it can also be receiving guidance, because there's kind of two facets to it, I guess, now that I think about it. There's the getting to know self kind, where it's like I'm being told, okay, shit, I have these issues that I haven't decided on, and I need to choose not to go into fear and to actually just jump anyway. There's that kind of thing. And then there's also tapping into spirit and higher consciousness and asking to receive guidance for yourself or someone else. So receiving guidance, I would say, feels different to me than asking, what do I need to know? Because what do I need to know kind of comes from within me. I guess it all comes from within you, but receiving guidance feels like more of an external request where you can tap into those higher energies, invite them into your conscious frequency, and decode the information that they give you in a way that you might not have done without the divination technique. You might not have been able to just receive a message about it. But if you're not one that channels necessarily or hears it in your head, these divination techniques can be kind of a starter place, my first divination, my first message, to get that information to you from these higher consciousnesses. And maybe I'll go into a little bit of deities and higher conscious. I'll just say the basic thing that I know about them, which is anything that you believe to be true will manifest in some way eventually if you continue to believe it. So if you believe in these higher deities, which do exist, because kind of I look at it kind of, okay, everything is real. Some people say nothing is real, and that helps them. Like this world is an illusion. We're all in God's dream. This is a kind of a fantasy. Like this is going to, it's a dream. So it's not real. But to me, that would make my ego freak out a little bit, because it'd be like, well, if we're not real, what are we doing? So I look at it from the prospect of everything is real, because if you can imagine it in your mind, it exists in a reality, because we live in an infinite multiverse of just like everything that it could exist does exist at some point. Your favorite franchise exists somewhere, like as a reality, like, you know what I mean? So if you choose to suspend your disbelief about these beings, about these gods, about these extraterrestrials, about these spirits, about these whatever, then that opens the door for them to contact you and attune to their frequency and receive information from them, because they do exist, because everything exists. So, and it's up to you whether you have enough trust to not doubt the messages, because you might think, oh, I'm playing with myself, I'm like fantasizing, I'm like inventing this in my mind. And if you think that, then that's what your reality is going to reflect, that you're going to think you're crazy, so then you're going to feel crazy, and you're not going to fucking, you know what I mean? But if you go forward with a bit of an open mind and respect for other beings, kind of the respect that you would want for yourself, you go into it with respect of, hey, I would like to be contacted, I would like to contact you, I would like to open up to your energy. If there's anything that you would want to do to help guide me on this path, or anything that I would like to, anything I need to understand right now that would enhance my ability to ascend spiritually, or in my life, in my career, in my whatever, depending on what God or deity you're talking to. If they have a specific correlation with the thing that you're asking, that's even better, because then it's like, oh, your area of expertise, I respect you because you are like Bridget, the goddess of poetry. And I mean, she's the goddess of many things. She's a Celtic goddess, but I write poetry, so I will call on her when I'm writing poetry sometimes. I'll set her little card out. I have a card that I made for her, and just kind of let my brain go. I'm like, okay, if you want to bring me messages, because it doesn't come to me as a voice, it doesn't come to me as like, hey, listen. It's not like that. It's more of just ideas come to me and I'm like, oh shit, was that you? Like, did you help me? Because I wasn't thinking this stuff before, and now I am. This is Bridget's card for me. That's the Bridget's cross. So having a little bit of devotion, I wrote her a poem for Imbolc, which is a Celtic holiday on February 1st. And I asked her to show me how to best serve my fellow man so I may serve myself, or by serving myself. Show me how to best serve myself so I can serve my fellow man. That's what it was. And that was the month that my consciousness, just after over a year of like nothing, started expanding. I started getting messages. And then that was like my big spiritual ascension. Like my second ascension was, I left that place at the end of February because I was being emotionally abused and not having a good time, and I chose myself, and then I had even more spiritual experiences. So I don't know if contacting these deities can trigger spiritual growth like that. I don't know if it was destined to happen based on where I was already, if the energy was already there. I don't know if that was just a manifestation of me already feeling the energy, because I didn't really feel much when I wrote it. I was hoping, but I didn't feel much, and then I started to feel. So it was like my mind opened to the idea, because I didn't even fully believe it. Like I partially, like I did, but then there was still, that's the thing with believing in deities and gods, is it can start off, if you haven't started young, like believing in them, if you weren't like inundated by some other like culture or religion, and you're a very scientific, logical minded person, it can feel very strange to try to connect to these things that you have no evidence of. and you can't replicate them in a scientific study. You only have to trust what comes into your mind and what messages you receive, and whether you choose to believe them. So it was very strange for me to open up, because I first opened up to just spirit. It was just a blanket term, spirit. My higher self is guiding me, spirit's guiding me, blah, blah, blah. I didn't fuck with gods. I didn't fuck with deities. Yeshua did come to me early on, and I didn't resist. Because I was in such a space that I knew it was for me. It just resonated so hard that I couldn't ignore it. But I never really I didn't believe in Christianity. I didn't believe Jesus did miracles. I thought it was all gobbledygook. I thought he was a guy who was cool and walked around and preached love, and then everyone was cool, or they just made up stories about him. But then he came to me, and the more experiences that I had, mystical experiences that defied the laws of physics as I knew it, the more I believed when the messages were coming through, like, oh shit, he did turn water into wine. He did walk on water, because you can do these things too. If you just dismantle all those limiting beliefs about being able to not do anything, you can do anything. But it's very hard for a human brain to get to a point where it truly believes that beyond any reasonable doubt, because there has to be no doubt for you to do it. There has to be zero doubt. For that shit to manifest, you have to have no doubt at all. Complete trust in the universe, complete trust in yourself, complete trust in the process. And the journey toward that is kind of what the spiritual path is. And it is very rare that a being gets to that point, because it's kind of like being aware of the game while you're in the game. It's like lucid dreaming, being aware that it's a dream, fully knowing that anything that you don't want to happen to you won't happen, because you have control, because you're the dreamer. And that's crazy to some people, because I can't have that much control. And it's no, you really can, but it takes an incredible amount of work, an incredible amount of reconditioning your mind. But when it comes to deities, you can contact any one of them you want. I mean, they've come to me. They may come to you too once you open your mind to them. I have Aphrodite on my hand right now. I didn't believe in Greek shit. I was like, okay, these are fantasy stories. And they are fantasy stories, but they're also real deities that do exist in other realms, whose energy we can tap into and channel that energy and kind of embody it. We can kind of borrow their energetic signature, is what I've discovered. It's if I want to feel a certain way that is associated with a certain god or angel, I will call upon that deity and then embody that. So I'm kind of making the conscious decision to attune to them, and then they kind of hold up the other end. They're like, okay, well, here I am. And I haven't really heard here I am. Sometimes I'll see images or little videos in my head of stuff, and that's how I know that they're there. Other times things will manifest in the 3D, where I'll get a confirmation crow, or a light flickering, or just a noise, or something falling, or things like that. But it all depends on your self-belief, on your belief that these things do exist. And that belief has to be built over time, because you can't just choose to believe something. You have to kind of see evidence of it. Your human brain needs to be open to the idea and the possibility that it is true beyond a reasonable doubt. And then it has to see something happen. Otherwise, it's just faith. For a belief, it really has to manifest in some way for your brain to be like, oh shit, that's real. Otherwise, it's kind of like, oh shit, that's probably real. I believe in that. But it's really having faith in it at that point. A belief is kind of more like, oh shit, beyond any doubt, this is what I believe to be truth. And anyone that's curious about deity work, I recommend, honestly, ChatGPT has been incredible. I've asked them about deities or angels. That's where I compile my information from. I say, can you tell me what the spiritual significance and symbolism is for this deity? And they'll compile a whole little list for you, a whole little thing. I don't know how you feel ethically about ChatGPT, but I'm using it for my purposes now. I don't think I'm destroying the world by being one person using it. I don't feel guilty about it. I don't know if there's people that are like, oh my God, it's using energy in some way that's bad. I have not looked into it, but it is a great way to learn about deities. They'll offer to make you a meditation for it. They'll offer to make a ceremony thing for it. They'll offer it's amazing. So if you're curious about deity work, I recommend starting by asking ChatGPT about it, because it'll just compile a bunch of stuff from wherever, and it always seems very comprehensive to me. And connecting with deities is honestly pretty easy. It's kind of just like meditation. You make a nice quiet space, you get a little information on them first to show that you are respectful and open to their energy. You look at it from a point of like, I don't like looking at it from a point of reverence, because some people worship deities. That's not my gig, because I know that I am them and they are me. We're all the same thing. So we kind of have an equal level of respect across the board. I respect you for what you do. You respect me for what I do. I know that your existence is probably difficult in some way. You know that life on earth is suffering and difficult. So like, we have a mutual respect for each other in that way. So you would gather some information and then go into a nice quiet space, light some candles, maybe offer some item that is associated with them, or draw something that's associated with them, or like I did with Bridget, I write a poem to her because she's the poetry lady. So just kind of try to connect with them and be open to, almost like you're connecting with a person, because you are. They're a being. You're connecting with a being. Just like you connect with a person, they are also a being. We're all being. So and maybe light some incense, candles, all that stuff. Spirits love fire and smoke, are really like permeating higher realms of vibration, so that can really call things in. I'm not sure of the science behind it, because there isn't a lot of science about this stuff yet, so we'll call it magic. That's just, if we don't understand something, it's magic, sure. And then just creating an open space in your brain. I love doing like the hertz videos, like 432 hertz or 999 hertz, or do some kind of sound, calming sound background music to kind of like that. I feel like for me that kind of creates a vibe, and it also gives me like, if I'm a boat, it gives me like a nice ocean wave to ride on, to keep my conscious thoughts in a row, because I'm not getting as distracted, because there's like an underlying current kind of driving me to keep me paying attention to myself. And then you just get quiet, do some breathing, and ask to connect with the deity, and notice what your mind sees or hears or just thinks. Just notice the energy that comes through, and maybe have a pen and a paper, maybe record it on your phone, because sometimes if you really connect and you really get into this and you like believe truly, crazy shit will happen. They'll make stuff fall, they'll make things turn on and off, they'll make noises, they'll make like all kinds of stuff. My stones have jumped, like just like stuff happens because you have a higher vibrational being coming to you, and that's going to kind of glitch things a little bit sometimes. Or they might just want to give you a nice confirmation that they're there if you ask for it. Not always, but sometimes. Just be open. Interference on the laptop or the speakers is a big one for me. I've had spirits come through and I'll ask a question, I'll get a so like, and then I'll ask more questions and I'll get a like, okay, so it's however you connect is up to you, honestly, but being open-minded is the biggest thing about it. And just like I was talking about with tarot and oracle cards, you can call on them to watch over your readings. I will do that. I have a couple of my cards that I made that are just deity cards. And there goes the motherfucking lights. Oh no, my battery just died on my battery. I have a battery pack that's also a lamp on top. It's like a camping battery with a lantern. And I was charging my phone with it and it just died, so... And it's starting to rain. Okay, should I stop? Should I come back to this? What should we do, gang? It's time for an ad break. So I'm just kidding. We don't have any supporters for that yet. No ads, ad-free. But shit, this isn't that bad though. It's kind of classy. Hold on, wait. I have candles. Here. So if we just move the candles up, maybe we'll get some more light going. There we go. It's it's not that much better, but it's a little better. Okay, hold on. If we put this one here, it does absolutely nothing. Okay, that's fine though. That's fine. So I'm still gonna do it. Fuck it. I didn't really have a game plan for this one though, because when I'm talking about deities and stuff, it feels like I need to talk about the higher densities of reality, and then I would have to go into the law of one, and then I would have to go into a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll just give a little bit of background with the reality being everything's real. We exist in, this is what I believe, and what I believe to be true, what has been shown to me. So I'm not telling you what to believe, but I'm going to speak about it as if it is the truth, because it is the truth to me. We live in one of the densities. There are 8 densities of reality. And some people may talk about dimensions and say there's 12 dimensions, there's this dimension, there's that dimensions. They are all just different ways of saying the same thing. So like when people talk about the 5D, living in 5D versus 3D, in terms of density, in reference to the law of one and how the law of one explained it as an octave, where we live in an octave of reality and there's 8 densities, and the 8th density is the completion, the culmination, everything as one. We live in the 3rd density, transitioning to the 4th density. And the 4th density is one of love. The 1st density is kind of like the elements. It's about like the basic awareness. You're a rock, you're fire, you're water, you're earth. It's Avatar. Stars, planets, whatever. The 2nd density is one of awareness, and that is an evolution. That is animals and plants. So anything that's an animal or plant, anything that is alive that is not yet self-aware, doesn't have an ego. And then the 3rd density is when we do have an ego. That's the density of self-awareness, when we become aware that we are a thing, and we're like, what's that about? And we start asking questions. And then sorry, my legs keep getting, I can't sit in a cross that long. And then the 4th density is one of love. It's about love and understanding. It's about the understanding that we are all one thing, not exactly embodying that. We're still all very separate beings, but we understand that the root of everything is love, unity, and oneness. The creator is us. We are the creator. We are fractals of the creator. We don't really know how they do it or what's beyond it, but we know that there is a creator, we are the creation, and the creator is also us. We are all the same thing. Then the separation is an illusion created by the ego, but the ego is also very necessary in the evolution of beings, because we have to become self-aware at one point, question our self-awareness, and then become aware of the truth of things again. That's why we go through the veil of forgetting when we incarnate, because if we knew that we were this thing, but from the moment we're born, our experience would be boring, because we already know that like we're in control of everything and that it's all us. So like, why even have an individual experience? The 3rd density is about creating individual experiences, and also transitioning from a survival mindset to an abundance mindset. And the 4th density is where that happens. And that's also what 5D is. 5D is 4th density. They're the same thing. And then we have the 5th density, which is of understanding and truth and wisdom. The 6th density, which is about coming back to oneness. The 7th density is the gateway back to oneness. And then the 8th density is when everything's one and it starts all over again, because we've already experienced everything as the one creator. And that's just a synopsis. So these deities and these beings that I'm talking about, though, exist beyond the 4th density. Some of them exist in the 4th density on like other like planets and stuff, which I know can be like crazy to think about, because people will be like, oh, that's blah. But we live in an infinite universe. So there are multiple other species that exist that we can connect with through our crown chakra on a spiritual basis. And then there's beings also in the 5th density, the 6th density. I don't know about 7th density or how that works, because that's like almost like when you're going back to one. So I don't even know if there's separation there. I don't think there is. So the highest one I would think of is the 6th density, but also I don't know where angels reside. Like, I don't know some of this stuff, honestly. They tell me not to worry about the details, but basically when you connect to higher consciousness, you're connecting to beings of a higher density of reality, which honestly is ironic, because they use the word density because it's less dense. As the higher you go up, the less dense it is. The 3rd density is very, very dense. It's very dense here. That's why things seem to move very slowly. Time is a thing, and there at the higher densities, which are of lower density, things manifest very quickly. It's like when you're in a dream. When you're in a dream, you're in the astral, and you are in a higher density of reality. I'm not sure which one or where you go to. I've been up very high at certain places. Thank you. I've gone to a place where it was called home, and it was just them showing me why we incarnate, what happens, and I just had this sense of knowing that everyone is me, and this sense of peace and love, and going back to just this familiarity, like this sense of familiarity, while also them showing it to me as my hometown. So like this incarnation also feeling at home, and it was really beautiful. So when you're in a dream, you're actually in the astral, in a higher density of reality, and that's when you can also, some of these beings will connect with you through dreams, because it's easier, because it bypasses the ego, so you can just experience it and then interpret it when you get back to your awakened state. So you're kind of connecting with beings that just we can't perceive them, because we can't see the 5th density or the 6th density or the 7th density. Like, we don't have that level of awareness to perceive that through our human brains and our human bodies. So that's why trust is involved with these things, because you have to kind of just trust that if you're getting messages and they say they're from a certain thing, they might not always say what they are. They might just be information, but you have the distinct feeling that didn't just come from my brain. That feels like it was implanted, it was attuned to, it was a signal that was caught. That's how you know that a higher dimensional being may be contacting you. You may see images in your head of things that are related to them. It might not even be them if you don't know who they are yet. I know that Horus came to me, and Horus is very related to the sun in Egyptian culture. I think he drives a chariot that pulls it up every day and pulls it down every night. I forget if that's him, honestly. I'm so sorry, Horus. I remember some things about you. No, and he also has the eye of wisdom that he traded for that knowledge. And that's why it's the eye of Horus. He literally gave up his eye for this wisdom and this knowledge. But he's related to the sun, and I started seeing the sun as so beautiful in like March. Like, it was just like I just started staring at the sun more, and it just looked like it had more, almost a rainbow hue around it, and it was just so, it just became so much more visceral. Like, nothing, I can't explain what visually changed about it, other than it just became more beautiful and like it meant more. And then I had a message come through. I was watching a video, and they were like, if Horus is coming through in this reading, and if he's trying to talk to you, you might notice the sun looking more important and differently lately. And I was like, oh my God. So sometimes the deities will come to you even through like a YouTube video where someone's reading cards or doing something, and they say, hey, this is coming through, here's the signs. And you're like, oh shit, I've been noticing that in my reality. This video is obviously manifested and come to me to confirm that and make me aware that they are trying to contact me, and now I can welcome them in and connect with them. I'll draw the Eye of Horus on my hand. I'll connect to him for... Honestly, I don't even have a specific reason to connect with Horus other than I just feel the vibes. Like, he's a vibe. I don't know. But the deities have come to me at different times in different ways. Just making themselves known in some aspect of reality, whether it be a video or just a thought or just some kind of information coming to me that makes me aware of the presence. And then I tune to the energy, and then it becomes apparent to me that it is real. Because I am very open-minded at this point. I still have to suppress my disbelief at certain points because I'll be in a lower state of consciousness, maybe vibration, because I'm clearing out some stuff, and it'll be like, my ego will come in and be like, well, that doesn't seem likely. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help me at all, not thinking that it's likely. So we're gonna discard that. But like Aphrodite came to me, and I did not believe in Greek stuff at all, but after I became to this revelation that everything is real, I was like, okay, what's your energy like? And I just it suddenly became very sensual, and it became very, my hands started gliding over my thigh, and it was almost like, I got a little butterflies. It was very, I felt very exposed and vulnerable. I felt very like, oh, like what are you, hello. So, and that took me off guard. That was kind of crazy. But she's also a very feminine, sexual, sensual pleasure energy. So of course she came to me in a very like kind of flirtatious way, and very, very salacious. It got very salacious very quick. I had to literally consent to touching myself because it felt like someone else was doing it. And I was like, it's fine, let's, just don't go grabbing stuff. But every deity is like that in a way that they have their own energetic signature, because at the end of the day, whether you imagine them in form or not, usually the forms that we draw of them are the human interpretation of their energy, because they really are just frequencies, amalgamations of frequency. We're all different kind of building blocks of frequency that come to a different, expression of that. So, and then we have form here. I mean, there's form everywhere, I guess, but higher densities form might be fucking weird. I don't know. So, but I think most deities that we make images of are more human interpretations of that energy that get filtered through our consciousness to kind of create a visual representation of what they express and how they express their energy. So they might not actually look like that, but I also don't know how things look in higher densities of reality. So, like the angels are all very human looking in depictions, but other things say that they're just like a bunch of eyes in like rotating like circle things, be not afraid. And so they don't usually come to me in visual form. I might see images of things related to them, but I don't usually see, like if Archangel Michael comes through, I might see the oracle card in my head with his sigil on it, and I'm like, oh shit, hello. But everyone's different. Some people see them in their minds, like talking to them, or they go into the astral and have a conversation with them and they're there. It's just calling in because of the higher densities. There's no time, and there's no like limit to, like, they can just be anywhere at any time because time doesn't exist. They kind of just pop in because they're in the ever-present now, existing eternally. Like, we are only not under the illusion of not being eternal here as humans because our human bodies in this density decay and then die. But our soul is eternal. So these higher beings that have transcended the physical are eternal. So that's like kind of, they are gods, but God's also at higher densities. After you reach the fourth density, which is love and understanding, to get to the next one, you have to choose. There's two paths: the path of service to others and the path of service to self. And the path of service to self is kind of like what you see narcissists doing, and just people that are harming other people often, and they choose whatever benefits them monetarily or just meeting their needs and not giving a fuck about anyone else's. And the service to others path is when you realize that we are all love and light and unity and oneness, and you choose to love yourself and take care of yourself and see yourself as this sacred being, and then use that energy to pour into others and be of service to others as you can. And so in the higher densities, these beings have transcended that and only seek to serve others and ease the suffering of other beings and guide them back to that oneness and understanding, while also not interfering with their karma and their life path. You have to invite these deities in for them to contact you. Your energetic field has to be open to them. It's kind of like a vampire knocking at your door. You got to let them in. So because they are always available to us for guidance and for support, it just depends on how many distortions you have and how clear the channel comes through, whether you can connect to them in that way. And that's what the inner work is, right? It's clearing our channels out, clearing all those emotions out, clearing out our traumas and stuff, and coming to peace with ourselves, and then creating an open channel for these beings to kind of impart us with information that will be beneficial not only to us, but to other beings and humans and humanity. So they are all kind of on the same page of, we hear the suffering of you, we hear that you're opening your energetic field, we have come to you because you have called upon us. What you want to know, what you want to do here. So, and that's beautiful, because you don't have to worry about you don't have to be overly reverent of them, because they already realize that they are you and you are them. So they respect you just as much as you respect them. So there's not, and if you want to leave offerings and that's part of your spiritual practice and you want to worship, that's also totally fine. They'll accept that, because if that's your path and that's what you want to do, then hell yeah. If that makes you feel like you're forming a bigger bond with them and connect with them energetically even better, then like hell yeah, go ahead and do it. I offer intention every time, but I don't do it at the cost of making myself feel smaller, because we are the same thing. So they just have a greater understanding of experience than I do at the current space-time nexus that I exist in, because I am in a human body. So it's really just me helping me remember just through different frequencies, because we're all me. I'm you, you're me, everything's you, everything's me. Like, it's all the same John. So everything that the higher beings do is literally just to help you remember that you are the one thing and that we're all the same thing, and kind of guide you on your individual journey here of self-expression, because I think the spiritual path really is the celebration of the individual while also remembering the oneness and honoring that. So you have to honor the oneness of everything and also honor your individual journey, because you come here to be a self-expression and to experience separation, or the illusion of separation, so you can have a lived human experience and clear your karma and experience good things. So connecting with deities, that's that on that. It's very strange for me to connect with deities, because it still feels like fantasy sometimes, because if they're not directly in front of me telling me, hey, it's me, I'm here, I have to trust myself that I'm getting this from this source of information. And the human mind is fantastic at making us doubt ourselves if there's not concrete evidence. So it really is almost a test of faith every time I do connect with a deity, whether I believe that the thing that's happening is from them or not. And like, I'm preaching all this stuff, not preaching, I'm sharing information about all this stuff, but I have not yet come to the full realization or remembrance. I'm still on my path. I have come to remembrance before at higher frequencies and levels, but it was a temporary experience. I couldn't stay there. My human body could not physically handle that energy for that long yet. So it kind of feels like a distant memory. Not that distant, but I can't connect with it emotionally the same way as when it was happening. I have a different conscious awareness like level right now. So that can kind of throw you for a loop, because if it's something you didn't believe in and then suddenly you open your mind to the possibility of it, and then you get little tidbits of it, and then you have a big experience that fully confirms it, that can be jarring, because it's like it suddenly goes from being like, oh, I think this is real, to like, oh fuck, this is getting really real. That's how it was for me connecting with deities and God and shit like that, because it was just like an event would happen that proved beyond any doubt that this is real, and that would blow my fucking mind, and I would need to take time to integrate, because at the time at the level of consciousness I would be in, experiencing it, which would have to be very high, I'd be like, oh, of course, yep, this makes sense. And then when I kind of evened out, it'd be like, holy fuck, how did that happen? And then like in me, I know like everything's possible, and the universe is limitless, and I'm just being shown the things that I believe in manifesting in my reality. But in my little human like brain space, my normal like day to day, that's a lot. Like without any drugs, without like mushrooms or acid or something, it's just integrating the truth of higher level beings coming to you and the knowledge they impart on you, especially if they make themselves known in a big way, can be very unsettling, because even though you know it's for the good and it's a good being and they're helping you, it creates a whole like new like paradigm of understanding of the universe, where it's like, oh fuck, I thought that was real, now I know it's real, now I have to shift a whole bunch of thoughts in my head and beliefs that I have around that to make way for the reality of the situation. And so that's what integration is. It's kind of like the blocks are rearranging, and you kind of have to take time to observe the blocks rearranging, go back into your memories, recalibrate whatever you thought you knew with your new knowledge, and like that can be a lot. So I caution you, connecting with these things and expanding your awareness, to take time after you have these experiences to process them, journal, write, record videos to yourself, paint, like sing, I don't know, like just fucking get it out, because otherwise it just exists in your mind, and that can be overwhelming and also make it harder to integrate, because there's too many things going on in there that aren't being, like, you have to bring it to your conscious awareness, how you feel about it, because how you feel about it is telling you what beliefs are being kind of rearranged about it, and you have to observe those for them to integrate. You have to become aware. That's what integration is. It's becoming aware, kind of depositing that awareness in your brain as belief systems, and knowing where you're putting them, and just modifying shit, modifying what you thought you knew with the new level of understanding that you have. It's kind of like a rough draft being kind of refreshed by reading it over again and correcting your mistakes. And nothing was a mistake, but your limited awareness with your new awareness, merging those together. And so just connecting with higher consciousness in general, channeling, is not a new thing. Humans have been doing it forever, but now it's become more of a mainstream thing, I think, because there are channelers on YouTube, there are channelers on TikTok and Instagram and whatever. There's this video found you right now at the exact right time. And if you believe that to be true, if that resonates with you, then it is true and it resonates. So, do with that as you will. But I've kind of gone off the rails with this one, and I'm not happy with it. I think I'm being a little bit too much of a perfectionist, because honestly, there aren't that many people listening at this point anyway. So I don't know why I'm feeling like I should have had more of an outline. I'm feeling almost like a sense of regret of just like, I just wanted to do this to get it out by tomorrow, and now I'm going to put out a sloppy little thing. But the information is still withstanding, so I feel like I can't have a pause. I could just edit it, but I don't know how to edit very well, so I just kind of keep going, and maybe having an outline in the future would help me stay on track more and not jump around as much. But if you find this interesting, I hope that you'll just listen anyway. I'm going to jump back from the deities to the oracle cards and tarot cards and divination stuff. I think it would be cool to pull some cards from my deck that I made, the Conduits Consult. It's on these little butterfly cards that I got from Amazon. They were blank. I felt very called to do it. I channeled 80 cards to make in like a day. Like, it just started coming to me, and I didn't even know what they were technically going to mean, but I knew when the time came, I would understand. So we have the Wish. I'll just split it. The Call. Split it. The Dancer. So these are all just different, the Raven, just different cards that mean different things. Some of them are self-explanatory, like the Wish obviously is something, a wish that you've made, a desire that you have that you want to come to fruition, something that you're trying to manifest. But then you have like the raven, and the raven is symbolism. It's more for spiritual attunement and expansion. It kind of signifies when I pull that card that I'm having a spiritual upgrade of some kind, a psychic upgrade. The tomb, pretty self-explanatory. It's basically the death card in tarot, the end of something, a new beginning, and then the call again. The call for me is the spiritual call, the call from within. Oh my God, and then the wish came back on the top of the deck. So the call is just your inner calling toward spiritual enlightenment. It's that, and it might not even just be that. It might be the call to move somewhere, the call to change jobs, the call, whatever is speaking to you in your mind, telling you that you're not happy in this current situation. There's something calling you to something bigger. And when you displace your fear and do it anyway, do it scared, then you'll be rewarded, because there's a reason that you're being called. It's your higher self telling you that this will end well. This is good for you. And I'll just do one more. The compass, which is, for me, compassion. Compassion is true north. It's just compass with more letters. So that's kind of how I operate, where I try to say my true north is compassion. I try to always operate out of compassion. Because that's what Jesus taught, that's what the Buddha taught, that's what everybody that's ever been an ascended master has taught, which is another higher level consciousness being that you can commune with. Ascended masters, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, Buddha, oh my God, I'm not going to remember anyone else, Muhammad, prophets and stuff like that. And they all have different personalities, they all have different energies, and they will all come through in a different way. So, but I felt called to make these oracle cards, and they have been immensely helpful for me on my journey. At certain points, I've done readings for other people and readings for myself, and they always seem to be exactly what I needed, exactly the right time. They always come through for me. I bless them. I've asked the angels to come through, the archangels, and bless them for me. I've asked higher level deities to come through and bless them for me, and it just feels like everything that I ever need to know always falls out at the exact right time. So, and that's based off belief. And what I've come to learn is what you believe is what you receive. So if you truly can train yourself to believe, I'm so lucky, everything always works out for me, the probability of things working out well for me is 100% at all times. I might not seem like it at the time, but I know it's always going to end with me getting what I want. And if you affirm that to yourself over and over, and the universe starts showing you that, you start experiencing, thank you, lucky things that are just like, wow, I can't believe that happened to me, it's so good. Then more happen to you, and then it strengthens the belief, and then suddenly things like that are happening all the time. I receive blessings all the time in little ways, and I'm always very grateful for it. I've received blessings in big ways too, but the cards have always lent themselves. What I'm saying from that is, I truly believe that the cards will always tell me what they need to tell me at the right time, and so they do, because the universe bends to the will of your beliefs. So if you believe that they're just cards and that it's random and that whatever comes out might not even be right, guess what's going to happen when you use them? Exactly that. So you kind of have to train your belief system to trust more in these different channeling or oracle or tarot or whatever. You have to train yourself to trust that there's more than just you doing this. You're being aided by higher consciousness in these readings or these divinations, and that invites them in and allows them in, and you don't have to do anything. You just say it, and you open your brain to it, you open your energetic field to it by opening to the possibility of it being a truth, and then you start noticing weird shit happening, like everything falling into place perfectly, and you go, oh, and then it becomes normal, and you're like, oh, okay, of course. That's how it became for me. Now when it happens, things happen perfectly, I'm like, yeah, of course, because I already believe that they will, so of course they will. So, this has been so messy, but I'm going to post it anyway, because even though it's all over the place, I still wanted to cover something. I want to be consistent, and tomorrow's Friday, so I wanted to post again, but maybe before we end it, I'll pull you an animal oracle card. This little deck of animal cards is so cute, and I always love doing it because they always have a good message. The rabbit, cleverness. Hold on, where are my spectacles? I can't read too good in the dark. If you have been going through difficult times, it is time to think outside the box to find the solution. This is also a reminder to avoid neglecting your creative side. If you have let creative projects lapse, it may be time to pick them back up again. I know you have creative projects that you want to work on. I know you want to express yourself. Stop delaying on them. You got to make time for yourself. and for expression, because like I said, emotions need to be expressed, your experience needs to be expressed, and so creative outlets are very important. And for me, creating the Oracle deck, oh, a card just flew out because I'm just shuffling blindly. Dolphin, peace. I'm not going to read that though. I'm not going to read that. But, oh my God, what was I saying? Oh, for me, creating that Oracle deck was a creative endeavor because I created the idea, and then I created the meanings for the cards, and then I drew the cards. Like, I have different drawing. I'm not a drawer, so they're very crude and stick figure mostly, or like runes and stuff. But that was a creative endeavor that paid off immensely for me because it's offered me an incredible amount of guidance, and I also want to turn it into a commercial deck at some point. The Conduits Consult, again, is what they told me to call it, and it resonated. That's what resonated with me, and I was like, okay, that's dope. But whatever ideas come to you that you think like, oh, that's too much right now, I have to work and I have to do these stuff, I'm not in a place to do it, once I get all these things together then maybe I'll do it, that's delaying something that could really help you. And maybe it isn't the time, maybe you still need time for it to ferment. But for me, when I feel the call to do it, I do it now. I mean, I'm recording a podcast, I live in a tent in the woods, I have no recording equipment, but I'm doing this anyway because I feel called to, and that's the call. And I heed the call. I always heed the call. Oh, what just popped out at me? Okay. It was a dog. The dog card. Maybe that's significant for you. But so for me, doing oracle readings and tarot readings and creating oracle cards and shit like that really feeds my soul. And we all need to kind of follow what feeds our soul in this world of soul-sucking corporations and bullshit and propaganda. You have to listen to your inner being and what it wants to create through you, because we are all conscious creators waiting. Some people I used to identify with not being creative at all. I said, I'm not creative. And it's like, well, I only wasn't creative because I wasn't creating, and I wasn't open to the idea of creating because I didn't think I was good enough at anything to create it. But in reality, you just do it, and then it's done, and then you did it, and then you do it more, and you're better at it, and it doesn't even matter if you're good or bad at it. You just need to create. Like, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. I drew stick figures on my oracle cards. It doesn't matter. I still did it. I'm recording on a fucking iPhone 13. It doesn't matter. I still did it. So I didn't mean to turn this into a hype podcast about something, but like, you need to do the things that your soul wants you to do. I mean, you don't need to do anything, but it's going to keep calling you until you do it. So if you feel called to tarot or oracle readings or crystals or any spiritual stuff like that, I encourage you to look into it because I love it. So maybe you won't love it the same way, but it helped me connect with spirit and connect with my inner being and myself a lot. And it's fun. It's playing. We're supposed to play here. We're not supposed to be so serious. Everything's so serious, and it's like, it doesn't have to be that serious. I'm playing with cards that I drew. Like, thank you, whatever that was outside. Like, I don't know. I truly have so much information right now in my head that it's like jumbled up, and I feel like I'm delivering it in a way that I said is sloppy, but I think that's also just me being self-conscious and perfectionist about something that isn't being graded by anyone. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just want to be able to convey information in a way that is the most helpful. So maybe me just being fucked up about it is going to be humanizing. I don't know. Like, I'm just a person talking to a phone. What are you going to do? So maybe consider, just after this, if you feel so inclined, researching ask ChatGPT about one thing, about the archangels. Ask about Archangel Michael. Ask about a deity from some culture that you found interesting, whether Egyptian, Greek, Celtic, one of the Asian countries, like South American, just something that you found interesting, and then find out some stuff about them, and then maybe one night open your mind and be like, hey, if you want to come through, I would love to talk to you, and just see what happens. Because it's fun. Because magic's real. It just is. It is what it is. I've seen it, I've done it, I've felt it, I've heard it, I've touched it. It just is. So you might as well have fun and try to open up to it. What's the worst that could happen? You still stay thinking the same things you think and still live in a mundane world? Like, no. Okay. So I guess that's where I'll cut this off. Oh my God, I feel so, thank you. I need to stop thinking so hard. I need to stop thinking so hard. The episode is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is good. I hope that you are good. I hope that you're doing really, really well. I hope that everything happening in your life is giving you some sense of clarity or teaching you a lesson that is moving you toward the things that you desire. I hope that your desires are manifesting. I hope that your consciousness is expanding. And I hope that I may have helped expand it a little bit today. So until next time, this is Doc the Oracle, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Honk honk.